Illegitimate, Fresh and Fit, Part 3. Alright, y'all. Now that we did a quick synopsis on Fresh and Fit's how to and the rise of popularity of Fresh and Fit and the rise of controversy of Fresh and Fit through their hypocrisies. We're going to be challenging a big key proportions of their ideas that they have regurgitated and recycled and stole from other content creators, from actual game masters, for like pickup artists and certified alpha males, the whole nine, and basically made it into their own without giving other people credit for it. So we're going to challenge some of those ideals as we speak. Later on in this clip for the remainder of this episode here, and we're gonna basically tell a bunch of gents why some of this stuff, not every single one, is illegitimate. So again, we're gonna focus on thinking. We're gonna have to focus on realistic stuff here. We're gonna focus on strict practicality at this point. So remember this: there's theory, there's practicality, and there's always gonna be an error. Always remember that it's not going to be fully black and white, as they've always been saying to the extreme. And I'm going to explain to y'all why, all these certain claims that they have and principles that they claim to follow. So, buckle up. All right, y'all, gents. Here's one ideal that Fresh and Fit basically has stated that is a bit contradictory here, that I will be further discussing as to why it's basically illegitimate. Basically, when it comes, and this is basically when it comes to flaking on a date. You know what I mean? So we're looking at a clip from an article from Daily Mail where Myron Gaines here, when they had the old TikTok from Fresh and Fit, or basically previously from Unplugged at the time, basically was saying about what to do when a girl flakes on you or when a girl reschedules a date. So according to Myron, basically advises men on what they should do when they want to reschedule, claiming that it is extremely bad behavior that should never be rewarded. You simply respond, and he quotes, again, he says, you simply respond, "Hey, that's cool, but I'm not really a fan of flaky girls. If we go out, you're going to pay for drinks or dinner, or whatever plans you guys had," said Myron. And he continues saying, with women, when they give you undesirable behavior, you need to punish it immediately so she knows it's not acceptable. He said, because if you take her back and take her on a date after she did some bullshit like that, she's going to think it's okay. Don't reinforce bad behavior with positive treatment. And then he ended his TikTok at that point. Now I have issue with this, and he's clearly wrong on that aspect. Now, if you're on a date, and I can tell you this from my actual personal experience, right? I've been flaked on before, and I had stuff rescheduled at the time, so I can tell you this from my personal experience on this. What Myron said is clearly wrong. Absolutely wrong. That's not the way you go about it, gents. All right? So, when a woman says that she wants to reschedule, that's fine. If you had the dates that actually came by and she rescheduled you about 10-15 minutes before, or maybe half hour before, depending on how far the commute is, and actually get to that date, and she reminds you probably went a day in advance, right? She reminds you that she's not going to be able to make it on that time. Can't we reschedule for another day? And your response to be like, "Hey, sure, that's no problem, not a big deal." And then you give her the opportunity to see, she'll give you an opportunity of when she'll be free on that day, whether it be on a day or whether it be on that week. And then you'll be able to set it accordingly. And you always make sure you get a confirmation from her to see, okay, that's one that we want to go to. And if she does not respond with an actual date or another confirmation at that point, all you got to do is ghost her ass and block her number. You ain't got to disrespect her. You ain't gotta belittle her. You ain't gotta be staying. I ain't tolerating no bad behavior from no one or whatsoever. Just quietly walk the fuck away. Say nothing. Listen to what she says. Read her text. And then ghost her ass and block her number. That's all you gotta do. You know what I mean? And then she'll give herself an alternative whether or not she wants to do it, or she'll just probably leave you straight. And because at that point, she's just not interested. Now, Where Myron has everything misstated is when if she flakes completely and she responds for something like this, you're already at the date, already on time, already 15 minutes before saying on the way, and you confirmed to her earlier that day saying, hey, are we still on for that day? And she says yes, and the moment they actually come, she don't actually come in on time, and she comes in like around, if she doesn't come in at time, and it's like around 15, 20 minutes later, and she give you some BS excuse saying, oh, sorry, my phone died, and he never gave you rescheduling, I'm watching a movie right now, maybe contact me some other time. If she does that, she is flicking on you, she's just not interested, ghost her ass, block her number, don't give her no damn warning, and then that's it. You ain't gotta say nothing. That's what you do. Alright? I had a situation personally years ago where I scheduled a date with this chick up in the New York City area one time where we were going out basically for like some dinner on the first date. She seemed very interesting. Seemed very outgoing and everything seemed okay. And I basically scheduled a date for a Tuesday night, basically on my way back home from work, where we'd be able to have like a quick date, see what's going on, and see what things came on, see how things were planning to work out. Yeah, we exchanged numbers. She seemed like a very okay, sweet girl at the time. She confirmed that she'll be able to try to make it on that day. And then when I actually got there and I checked with her to confirm, and she was like, sorry, I forgot about some things I gotta be doing on a day. And she was like, maybe next time. Didn't hear no response. Didn't say no words. So I'm like, okay, I understand. I'm thinking to myself, all right, if she wants to act this way and be flaky, I stay non-responsive. I keep my mouth shut. I see her again. I give her a glare, and I receive a text from her saying, oh, you didn't speak, and you shouldn't speak because she disrespected you. She wasted your time. Why she waste your time actually trying to talk to her? You ain't got to disrespect her or belittle her and say, hey, you ain't shitting that. No. Just keep your mouth shut, be quiet, glare at her, get your stuff, and move the fuck on, block her, walk the fuck away. That's what you're supposed to do, alright? That's what you should be doing when dealing with women that are that flaky, because the reason why women will flake stuff like this is because they truly deeply insecure. These aren't the types of women that you should not be wanting in your environment anyway. It just comes to show that they're not really built for the environment that you laid out for them. They're not the right fit for you. They are not an extension of your personality. So you gotta let them go. Alright, so gents, another ideal that Fresh&Fit, Myron, and Fresh PCO basically keep regurgitating like every other week is basically how to actually get laid on the first date and how to actually get your rocks off, you know what I'm saying, when dealing with women and all that stuff, when dealing with a woman on a date, if things like get hot and heavy and things get a little bit crazy, you bring it down to your spot, right? Excuse me, just had some food. Bring it down to your spot, everything got chill, you bring it on the couch, you get hot and heavy, you try to advance it to everything sexual, and all of a sudden she declines. Basically what Myron teaches all the male guests that are listening to the podcast is basically, okay, your date doesn't give you sex, you go outside, you go into another room, probably in a different room, and call up another girl that you have that's on rotation and have her come through to see if you get like another quick fuck in, right? And then like make sure that the woman hears you and all that and all those things, and then you bring her out and you actually tell her, hey, get yourself an Uber, get up out of my house, and then that's it. And it's gonna basically like give her a salty saying, oh, I gotta get the sex now and everything, and then that's how you get sex on command from women at all times, at any given moment. Gentlemen, this is not the way to go. This is not the type of advice that you should be following from Myron or Fresh at all when it comes to this. And the reason why I state that is because you can get hit with coercion. Okay? By doing that right in front of a woman around her vicinity, you're basically coercing your date in order to force her into doing something that she's not really fully comfortable doing. You know what I'm saying? That is coercion. It's clearly a criminal crime. It's literally a criminal crime if you try to do it up in Miami. Miami-Dade PD can hit you with coercion tactics. They could try to get you for the Florida statutes under 760.20-760.37, basically saying in the Florida law saying it's unlawful to coerce, intimidate, threaten, or interfere with any person in the exercise of or on account of her or his having exercised or on account of her or his having aided or encouraged any other person in the exercise of any right granted, right? That would be coercion, intimidation, those types of things. So again, I'm gonna try and give you what the definition of coercion is, right? Perpetrators of sexual violence and murder, numerous forms of pressure and force over survivors, right? So basically, coercion, a lot of coercive methods. Basically, what coercion is, okay? I'm gonna try and get back to the definition here, right now. The practice of persuading someone to do something by using force, manipulation, or threats, right? So examples when it comes to coercion: positive persuasion, right? Compliments, making promises, paying special attention, or grooming, quote, quote. Basically being, quote, unquote, nice can be a powerful weapon. Being more difficult to distress or confront someone who is nice or pays special attention. In this way, a perpetrator exploits the myth that niceness cannot coexist with violence. You know, that's basically what Myron did with Simone. Another example would be neutral tactics of persuasion. Example would be continuing requesting, nagging, or leading for sex, right? You know, basically actually in like Myron stage when he actually gives you all the false game, saying you go to the next store and actually call another girl to come by and have her fuck you and all that stuff while the other girl hears it. Another example would be physical persuasion tactics, i.e. kissing and sexual touching, without consent. Another would be gaining access strategies. Example would be isolating the woman, using false pretenses to be alone with the woman, i.e. Another would be negative verbal persuasion. Example would be threats to end the relationship and expressing dissatisfaction with the woman, swearing, withdrawing. Well, like swearing, withdrawing. Okay. The best way to handle something like this is they actually turn you down for sex, so you keep the momentum going and actually try to see you next time. If she did everything else right, you're welcome to actually be around her the next time, right? But if that's basically what you really want, you have a full right to kick her out and actually let her be. You know what I'm saying? And continue going with your life. Don't demean her. Don't disrespect her. Don't ever balcony to go around her vicinity until she is completely gone. Because otherwise, she can hit you with that type of charge right there, and it won't be pretty. And it could be you could literally face time if DAs or police charge you with coercion. It's not going to be a pretty sight, and that's something I just don't really want you guys to get caught up under. You know what I'm saying? So please take note what I'm actually trying to warn you guys into, and try to be careful on basically what goes on, because a lot of them get try to manipulate, especially if it's like a false charge somewhere. Just be mindful of that. Like if everything else is good at least, and she still treats you right, she still hasn't caused you problems, ain't nothing wrong with actually going on a second date and actually trying to actually advance it from there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Sex should be like a side effect, not like a top priority. You know what I mean? Just trying to keep it in the back of the mind. All right? But if you want to try to do the hand and quit it, but off, leave it alone and go with some other woman, unbeknownst to her knowledge that she does not know. All right? So please be wary of that. All right, gentlemen, another ideal that I have saved up from months ago is when Myron and Fresh did the podcast, where they basically talk about ideals about 6 things that a wife/girlfriend must have. So what I'm gonna, as I go along with these one by one, so those are 16 total. Always remember, there's theory, there's practicality, and there's the error in between. Now, I'm going through all these things that they've stated in theory, in principle, but also understand practicality as well, due to the fact that we're not going to go back to the old 1950s, 1960s way of living. due to the fact that you're dealing with high inflation, due to the fact that everything's getting more expensive, and you may need your partner to help put in the load and actually help contribute financially to the household also. So due to the fact that everything's getting more expensive, if you guys decide to have kids together, if you decide to actually try to raise like a family and everything gets a little bit crazy, depends on what state you're in, you might need a name that you be able to trust, that you feel could do right by you, your kids, as well as you and the couple. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that could factor in there in a practical sense. So there's the error rate can vary, the practicality can vary once I read through this one by one. All right. So the first thing that Myron stated, and Fresh actually obliged because he's a yes man. Number 1, does she cook and clean unprompted? Basically, she's willing to do that, not by force. Oh yeah, that's definitely true. I can definitely agree with that. Practicality, that can definitely work. If she cleans, like, it doesn't have to be like every single day. If she does like a full-time job, you know, it doesn't have to be every single day. If she gets gas, you know, basically call up the nanny to actually make sure everything gets done. But if she does clean, you know, if like the stuff gets messy or shit gets messy, she can definitely do it willingly. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, number 2, does she shut up in front of your friends? Practicality, yes. You know, when you guys are actually talking and playing video games, you know, does she basically give you the space, you know, where you be able to actually like have your hangouts and they're able to protect your peace and, you know, make sure some of your stuff is maintained. I'm not saying that homie gotta be hanging out with the friends and she's gotta be hanging out with friends like every so often, because, you know, once you're in a relationship, everything is minimalized. But at least he gives you the space where you'll be able to thrive needed, and vice versa, right? So, number 3, does he ask or do things on her leisure out of respect? Practicality, that's also true, right? You know, because he's actually showing that she truly cares for you. You know what I mean? She basically understands that, you know, you guys are both a couple, you guys are both a team. You know, you guys are a ride or die squad that makes sure everything like lives and dies within the two of you, right? Number 4, willingly forego going out on girls' night trips. Practicality, nah, it doesn't always work that way. Depending on how often she goes, right? Depending on how often she goes out. Because basically there are some basic statistics which I will pull up very soon. There's actual hardcore data that basically shows that like a lot of women and a lot of men as well don't even have that much sexual partners to be bagging out over the years. And you will be seeing that later on, definitely in this episode when I challenge those ideals down the line. Now, girls' night trips, they have like some close friends and they don't do anything reckless and they truly care about one another. And every time they may just try to party, actually try and get some air and get some fresh air, or they want to try and spend some close time together. Every so now and then, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe once a month, it's not even a problem. You shouldn't be like too crazy and too concerned about your partner actually trying to do everything just so that she can get some space. Now, if you find out that she's actually cheating, you know what I'm saying, with somebody else, yes, you ghost her. You know what I'm saying? But if you're really that concerned about like your partner's comings and goings and her coming around and shit, basically seeking anything that she does like outside your vicinity and everything that's tight, while you go out and you actually try to see any other women just to try to exercise options, quote unquote, as you will, you know, based on the red pill philosophy. You know, women, if it's like a woman actually gets piped down by one dude, that's cheating, whereas a man actually pipes down multiple women and all that, that's not cheating. You know what I'm saying? Unless he spends his money on like some other women, basically on what they said, which I fully disagree. That's like some full-on cap. Cheating is cheating regardless of what you do it on, regardless of like who you hit the partners on. Let's be fair. That one is illegitimate. Now, number 5. Does she willingly give you sex at any time you feel stressed, regardless of how she feels? In practicality, it could be true to a fault, because she may be feeling in some type of mood, she may be on her period, or maybe she may be fully gassed from work, and meaning she may not be able to willingly do it right now, and then that's fine. You know, worst case scenario, you can just go masturbate up in front of a bathroom, you should be good. You know what I'm saying? But if you do take that route, are you going to be willing to give her sex anytime she feels stressed, regardless of how you feel? That's the question that you got to think to yourself also. You know what I'm saying? And last but not least, 6, does she give up her social media for you unless she monetizes her work other than modeling or OnlyFans, which involves a skill to sell? And I know they do the whole thing to make sure everything gets locked down. If that's the relationship you want to look at, that's fine. But practically, some other dudes may want to take that route as well. Ain't nothing wrong with posting stuff on social media as long as it's not all highly trife and everything, and you're not showing all your bare nudes. If you're showing yourself in OnlyFans or any porn site, that's definitely done. But if it's Instagram where you're actually just showing things that's based off your personality, you know, so you even literally go that far. You know what I'm saying? You can't really assume that they actually tune unless you actually catch them actually hooking up with somebody. And once you catch them hooking them up, dunzo. So I do defer. Now I do see some contradictions in some things that that they have explained due to the situation that Fresh and Myron went through. You know, Myron's out literally trying to bone her and actually claiming that they actually give her the world, but yet they're not following this, and that he's not following those types of fucking principles. Fresh from her Instagram account based on what they obviously there's some hypocrisy there based on what they've been preaching. So why in the fuck would you believe these two bozo ass Revenge of the Nerd looking motherfuckers on some stuff that they are very shallow on, that they do not have that much trial and error when it comes to this type of lifestyle, when it comes to this type of space, right? Explain to me why. Another ideal that Fresh&Fit strongly advises on is basically saying don't get married. You know, because like a lot of women modern times are going to basically be resentful. They're going to be more combative based on what they saw on the screen. If they're not willing to do the whole cooking and cleaning, not deleting the Instagram, the whole 9 yards, they're not marriage material. I defer, and that's not fully all the way true in real life. Due to the fact that it's not really cookie cut, it's not a one size fits all thing. Because every woman is completely different, every marriage is different, actually every relationship is different, every value, every mindset is different. When it all comes down to it, at the end of the day, depending on where they are in the country, whether they're in like urban areas, suburbia, rural America, you name it, it can vary from place to place. It is way more complicated than you think when it comes to that. When you actually go deep into the numbers, they have a bunch of hardcore statistics saying that, you know, college-educated women are more likely to have long-lasting marriages. That basically took place around 2006, 2010, which was like around over 10 years ago. And we talk about current marital status by education, basically showing on the graph for Institute of Family Studies, shout out to Boaz from the Irrational Male, that has a general social survey from 1972 to 2016 showing that a college graduate is more than likely to be married than a woman that does not have a college degree, or people that do not have any college degrees, according to the statistics here. Take note, I received a master's degree in applied mathematics and statistics, by the way. So I can analyze these graphs very, very well. You know what I'm saying? So rural America tends to have sexually married earlier than urban America due to the hard proof. Shout out to Boaz from the Irrational Male again. I have his book. So American women and men are less promiscuous than recent generations. Basically what they've been showing in 1988 and 96. 0 sex partners 10%, 1 sex partner 23%. And you see the pattern, 3 5 6 partners around 23%. 6 to 12 is 20. 13 to 10 is 5. 21 plus sex partners is 4. It's basically had like a big discussion depending on body count, which I will discuss in the next ideal. So again, it is not as cookie cutter, black and white than you think it really is. So let's go straight to body count here. Okay, another ideal that Fresh&Fit mainly promotes and regurgitates over the whole year mainly is due to the fact that body count heavily matters. for men. Basically, body count matters. Like the higher the knots count that you earn, the more attraction that you get from women. Basically, it's basically reverse linear when it comes to the opposite gender for women per se. The higher the knots count, right? The lower the attraction, the lower the pair bonding that you would see based on a woman. That's not fully black and white. That's false to a point due to the fact that's not guaranteed. You may see men with higher knots counts that are shitty in pair bonding, and you can see women with higher knots counts that like their pair bonding hadn't really been affected at all. And also take note that Fresh&Fit has claims that are a lot of women that have like a lot of higher knots counts and basically aren't really pair bond worthy due to the fact of like modern womanism and all that. Based on Boaz's claim from the Irrational Male that he found from the graph that is basically shown here, that is hardcore statistics, that is literally hard proof. And he quotes, "This graph demonstrates the number of sex partners American women has had over a long period of time. Each decade represents a cohort. As you can see, most American women have never exceeded 10 partners over the course of a lifetime. Most American women, again, have never, ever exceeded 10 partners over a course of a lifetime. And they may have sex hundreds of times, but they may not have more than 10 partners for the majority of them. A few may have greater than 10. They may be strictly for the streets, which is easy to do, but most American women do not have that type of level of partners over their lives. It is continuing to go down in the present day. The modern generations, which we know the modern women are basically doing, the modern women today are less promiscuous. The modern women today are less promiscuous. There is no such thing as a cock carousel that Coach Craig Adams basically promotes and Myron promotes, except for women who are in the top 5% of sexually active women. 5% of the 330% that they're basically claiming here, you're talking like around 15, 16 million women, right? Mainly from the major areas, some parts rural, the manosphere lies. And if you see, based on the graph here, if you're able to get the Irrational Male that's here up here, that's basically your graph that says trends in frequency of sexual activity and the number of sexual partners in the past year among U.S. women by age group. Now, the first graph that we see here, basically titling women aged 18 to 24 years old with the proportion percentage sexual activity in the past year around, depending on the race. We're going to go with the most recent, right? Definitely most recent, 2016, 2018. Around 20% say not at all. 10 says once or twice a year. 20% went 3 times a month. And then around 50% weekly or more on the proportion. Now, B basically says proportion of number of sex partners in the past year. 20% of women that actually partook in the survey says none. About 60% only had 1 at the time. 10% only had 2. And over 3, they had around 10-15%. 25, 34 years old. Very small number, basically not at all. Once or twice per year. 5%, 1-3 times a month. Having the sexual activity over 20%. And weekly or more having the sexual activity close to 55%. Now, number of sex partners in the past year, at that age, it lowers based on the pattern. Now you have 1 sexual partner at that time guaranteed, 2 at that time ain't really much, and 3 not really much at all. Very small percentage. Frequency of sexual activity basically lowers with 35, 44 years old. But still, the vast majority of those women as they age still have the main sexual partners, but they don't really have that much partners in the past year. The percentage continues to get lower and lower and lower. Boaz basically states overall in the 20 years from 1988 through 2006-2010, the percentage of teenage females who were sexually experienced declined significantly from 51% in 1988 to 43% in 2006-2010. This decline has been gradual and steady over these years. From a long-term perspective, this significant long-term decline is a reversal from a period during which the percentage of teenagers who were sexually experienced was steadily increasing. American women and men are less sexually experienced than the boomers. For males, the lack of significant change in sexual experience from 2000 to 2006 2010 is a departure from a past trend of large and statistically significant declines in sexual experience before 2002. It declined 5 percentage points between 1988 and 1995 and 9 percentage points between 1995 and 2002. For never married male and female teenagers within the Hispanic origin and race groups, none of the change from 2002 through 2006 to 2010 in the percentage sexual experience was statistically significant. With one exception, among non-Hispanic black females, there was a substantial decrease in the percentage of sexually experienced from 57% in 2002 to 46% in 2006 through 2010. Virtually all Hispanic origin race groups experienced significant long-term declines. Sexual experience, and we're gonna scroll down. We have lifetime sex partners from 1910 to 1990. Basically, the non-college men in 1980 has been basically the hottest there. And basically, what it's saying is poor and unemployed men tend to be incels, whereas men like in the incel classes are very broke. Frank James. Both male and female teenagers younger age at first sex leads to a higher number of partners, if only because those who began having sex earlier had more time to accumulate partners. The distribution of sex lifetime partners in 2006 to 2010 is comparable to those found in 1988 and 1995. Now, if children are born to single mothers, according to Boaz, what he states, are not considered the same as children born to unmarried women that have partners. They're very different, right? So, wage gap exists across the board regardless of education. Wage gap exists regardless of time commitment to the job. Wage gap exists with respect whether a woman is single, married, and has no kid. Every stage is different in the industry, but the wage gap exists, right? Poverty rate has gone down, basically, what we've seen. Basically, talking about marriage again, which I'll bring it back to the previous ideal that they claim. Men and women are at least a bachelor's degree about equally likely to marry by age 46. Now, at that time, all low-level education women are more likely to marry than men. Probably in marriage increased education among women, those not complete high school, less likely to marry compared with all higher education levels that they said. Now, the divorce gap that they have, we know is basically very smaller. Marriage rate that they have, that's calculated, and I'm just basically looking down here to be sure. Average divorce rate we know has gone down. That is quoted from adjusted divorce rate from women in the United States from 1970 to 2017. That is quoted from Swires in 2018 based on statistics stuff. Now, probably that the first marriage breaks up within 10 years by race, ethnicity, and being family in the country based on the United States Census Bureau in 1995. Basically has shown that in all races, the people that are in higher income brackets are more likely to have stronger marriages than the one that have low income, right? Now, the percentages do mirror when it comes to child support as well, which has declined based on what has been shown according to the U.S. Census Bureau from 1994 to 2018. Same year when poverty status of families can console your parents, dealing with recession and everything at the time. And you see it coming from the U.S. Census Bureau from 1993 to 2017. They have that as well. That is dropping as of recent. You have the employment status that they have there, and they have it in the Census Bureau as well. Basically, the majority of fathers that have custody basically work full-time, as well as the mothers basically working full-time based on the majority of the time. Full-time, and when you have custodial parents below poverty, you know what I mean? They don't even work full-time when it's below, they ain't work or they work part-time. And they have a no legal agreement that's there, right? It is very, very thorough. It is very, very deep. Custodial parents were supposed to be child support, receive full amounts. Most of the basic percentage was joint physical and legal custody. Again, that's from the U.S. Census Bureau. You could definitely look that up. I'm basically going to try to scroll down. Man, we make a big deal about divorce rate. Divorce rates has gone down. You know what I'm saying? Dating. What I'm saying when it comes to dating here, I can continue to go on and on with this craziness here. Let me try to scroll down. Talking about dating exclusively when it comes to body count and fertility, right? Now, actually, when it comes to fertility, they come down here. We will definitely, this is going to be part of body count as well, right? Because, men want fertile wombs, according to Red Pill. We want like that loyal, purest woman that's in her 20s, basically. Now, that's what they actually are basically claiming, right? So, I'm looking at what he's saying. Because the birth rate for teenagers definitely went down. But I want to try and see the statistics based on the graph. Now, when it comes to live birth and general fertility rates, right? Given the final, when it comes to the actual number of actual live births combined, they have decreased as well as the rate being decreased. Now, when it comes to fertility, basically, you're talking about births and birth rates by age of mother. There are basically 3,605,201 babies at a good rate in 2020 today. And the majority of the births that are basically been given are the women that are of age 25 to 29 as well as 30 to 34. And they have one that's basically set for 45 to 54. That's the latest that they have the birth fertility rate that's actually been going down. So the manosphere is basically true on that to an extent, because the more fertile they are when they're younger, the better the odds that you're gonna have a healthy baby with like no pre-existing conditions or learning issues that come by with any that can conflict that. The 24, there's not much births there because a lot of women are still in college, right? That's from the U.S. Census Bureau of Biostatistics surveillance report. Total number of births and general fertility rates, basically from the source of National Center for Health Statistics. National Biostatistics System, natality, and the previous graph I saw is basically from that. You can look it up on Google. So total number of births that they have that have been shown on 2020, and they base that with the race and the origins. The majority of kids born were white. Basically just glossing down through there. And of the 72 million fathers in the United States, 66 million that have been or are currently married. That's what they have been shown, because they already have some father figures up in their life based on that. So it's basically a lot with like cohabitating. My cousin and his girlfriend are currently cohabitating right now. All this stuff, man, this stuff is easily fucking debunked, which is just beyond insane, which we will go down here. So let me go down to I want to make sure I get all this stuff right. There was one that they have up here, because the body count they have is very, 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 very low. Very, very low. Right? So when it comes to the wall and the SMV they have as well, when they actually quote when it comes to that body count, in theory they have estimated reproductive value that they have up in the graph. You can actually get the Irrational Male book from Amazon by Boaz. He'll be able to actually school all that stuff from there, right? So they have like a birth rate, reproductive value. This stuff is literally fucking insane. So the actual body count, the majority of women, okay, the majority of women in America overall have very low body counts under 10 in their lifetime. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Last but not least, with one of Myron's quotes and ideals that they've been practicing is, if you make a shit ton of money and you live in the first world country and you're able to afford anything that you want to do, and you're a self-proclaimed high-value man, alpha male, you should not have any room to be depressed whatsoever. It should be impossible for you to be depressed, because you got so much women on your plate. You're getting as much ass as you can due to the high value status. You got all these luxury cars and luxury yachts and luxury homes. You know what I'm saying? It is inexcusable. You should not be depressed at all. And they actually like spewed all that shit down to I Am Skippy, which is they got him all heated up at the age of 44. And I understand the homeboy has his own issues as well, but the way they handle that, you know what I'm saying? You should have no room to be depressed whatsoever, Myron claims. And I'm here to tell you that is clearly far from the truth. It is bullshit.
Bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? As a person living with autism, and as a person dealing with Asperger's syndrome who has that risk of dealing with anxiety and depression all the time, depression is way, 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 way more complex than you could ever think. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you're wrong on that. You know what I'm saying? You could have the most money. You could do all the stuff that you love to do, and then deep down there could be that anxiety and depression within you that can still linger, right? Now, money can make things a little bit easier to actually facilitate, the situation that you'll be able to try to numb the depression through therapy. You'll be able to have easier access to better doctors, better therapists, better psychiatrists, better psychologists without any medicine impossible. If the depression gets worse, you may need to actually go see your doctor, see what he thinks, and see the PCP and actually go see a referral. It's not as simple as you think, and then you got to worry about PTSD as well. That you did all that trauma that you live in your life, that your life could be at risk, or something traumatic that could permanently affect you or your loved one. That could definitely affect you. Dealing with the death of a loved one, dealing with murder all around you that you didn't know, that could stick you for like a long time that may not go away. Or you could get charged in something, or you could be hit with a false rape charge and they hem your ass up for a number of years. You get trapped, and all the anxiety and depression literally starts lingering up within you, and you basically fucked, no matter how much money they actually had put up in there. And if any mistakes that come by, you make any reckless mistakes, that anxiety and depression that can seal in, and you get jarred for life. You know what I'm saying? So it's way, way greater than you think. And I truly advise people, to literally go seek help as much as you can and seek therapy if you're dealing with these types of issues. And I will be discussing some in full detail. I already had a recording probably around a month or so ago, basically talking about depression, which I will definitely post here on this episode as well, so that y'all be able to get a full gist of basically what goes on when it comes to depression in full detail. If you do need help, give me your situation, because obviously it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. You know what I'm saying? Now off to the Frank Castle. I forgot one more ideal that Fresh&Fit mainly touts is it's the foot on the neck principle. You have to make sure when you're in a serious relationship, or if you're dating, you want to try and make sure you figuratively put the woman's foot, the date's foot, on her neck, figuratively, to make sure that she abides by your standards. Or basically, in other words, what Mara's basically saying is, you have to put the fear of God in her, in order for her to do what you say, that type of things, in order for the relationship to work. Otherwise, she's going to automatically disrespect you. And unfortunately, that's not really fully the case. If you come with the mindset of you got to try and put pressure, you got to try and instantly put the fear of God in her every single time, because you fear that she's going to be doing something odd, or she's probably going to be subtly disrespect you literally all the time. It just comes to show that you didn't thoroughly vet her properly. And also, if you gotta have that mindset of literally putting the foot on the neck, literally, figuratively, then why the fuck you still with her, right? Why are you still with her if you're that deeply insecure about what the heck she gonna do, and not actually putting that much trust you literally that forward, instead of actually taking your time and vetting her, right? Vetting her as much as you can, give her as much space you need, just let her be calm. You do you, her do her. During the whole feeling out stages, you have your own space. You let her do whatever she wants, her own thing. If she still wants to commit to you during that time, and she doesn't bother you, that's definitely a person that you should definitely consider, because now the trust could definitely be formed. All you gotta really do in a case like this is just sit down with your partner, talk about everything out, and see if you can try to come to a medium, as long as you maintain the facilitator role. You know what I'm saying? You got to be the one to actually make that final decision, actually factor out all of those opinions out there to see which is the right move for you and your partner. That would be the best way to actually put on this. Not this whole, hey, you got to try and figuratively put a foot on her neck figuratively and make sure she gives sex on command. That's not going to work. That's going to cause some tension. That's going to cause insecurity. Not just within you, but it's going to cause like a lot of tension, unnecessary stress within your partner. So I just want to try and lay that out there. Alright, so the question that I want to know in the comics that you see, Marvel Comics, does Frank Castle from Marvel, the Punisher, actually punish women besides men, right? And I found out from Cora here that in the comics, I've basically have responded here from Cora saying that there's been a few times the Punisher, being the father who lost his children and wife, has a special hatred for people who hurt, abuse, or kill children. Usually, he kills people quickly and efficiently, unless he wants to torture them for information. But when people go after children, he has been known to take his time. Seeing this picture over here, and he quotes, but if you hit it hard enough, often enough, maybe 25 or 30 times, eventually you'll bend the frame. The woman in question was called Vera. She is one of the ringleaders of a slave operation, which was trafficking children as sex slaves. When he cornered her in the office, which had bulletproof glass, Castle decided to kill her by throwing her into the glass again and again and again. Whoo! Headshake fire. See in the picture above. The male ringer who oversaw the whole operation fared no better. The Punisher set him on fire and filmed it as a warning to the others. In another comic, the Punisher confronted a married couple who were abusing their 3 children. The Punisher entered their house by implying he was law enforcement. He then took the parents to the basement and killed them. While the wife was shot and killed instantly, it was done so as to not alert the children upstairs. The Punisher's thought in the captions showed that he wished he could make the parents suffer, but he had to kill them quietly. Yeah, baby, remember the children. Captions on the next page read, someone should suffer, not just die. He also killed Manucci, one of the few survived long enough to be a recurring character, by setting her house on fire and kicking her into it. She's missed her arms and legs because he dropped her in a pool of abandoned clothes before deciding house fires are more reliable than angry bears. However, often writers have shown a reluctance to show the Punisher kill women. When the 5 Wives group was formed, made up of the widows and the mobsters who the Punisher killed, they swore to kill him in revenge. However, rather than have the Punisher kill them, they were wiped out by Jane Cesar, the wife of another mobster who had her life destroyed by the 5 Wives. Damn. The 5 Wives meet. Then he kills the wives with one of the Punisher's iconic shirts. On the whole, the Punisher is tougher, far tougher, on men than on women. He has shown a soft spot for women overall, but ultimately he punishes the criminals he finds, whether they are men or women. However, the demographics of organized crime being what they are, most of the people he kills are men. Hope this helps. Now, end quote. Now, in comes Myron Gaines' version of the Punisher. And I know a lot of women are basically going to be very pissed off by what I'm about to say, because, anytime you hear a word punish and women in the same sentence, I tell you, a lot of women will literally lose their minds, but this is the mindset that they are on when it comes to Frank Castle and punishing. And basically what Myron does when, the Punisher comes out and he goes with the term Frank Castle, he basically kicks any woman out for being disrespectful, or he feels is being disrespectful, because unfortunately it's his podcast, it's his show, as well as Fresh's show. They have the right to kick out anyone from Myron's apartment at any given time for any reason, and that's the unfortunate part of the whole ordeal. I have seen over the past year and a half, based on what I'm watching all these clips, I have seen Myron kick out girls that he feels are basically being very disrespectful for the most part. And he has kicked the dude that's like a wannabe alpha, that's alpha like shit-faced and wasted. He kicked them out. But yet, he never really kicked out Kodak Black, who literally smoked weed on his table, which Myron doesn't allow any form of drugs to actually come on his table, which he doesn't actually deal with. And he literally disrespected him while they were talking by actually going on his phone and not even being filmed the whole conversation. And yet he didn't do shit to him. Like, what's with it, bitch ass motherfucker? Why you kick Kodak Black out? Why you kick Kodak Black out for? You know what I'm saying? But the kick out's what he loves to do. Like, Myron loves to pounce on any instant, trying to stir up some conflict or stir up tension or triggering any woman so that she can try and get like another kick out moment just for like viral views, so that he'll be able to try to receive more clout showing that he's really alpha. But in real life, that's not how you truly thoroughly quote unquote Frank Castle them or truly punish them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't real punishment at all. All this is gonna like rile up a woman in retaliation based on like what she saw, and they could possibly potentially file up a civil lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? Some of those kickouts that I saw were basically unnecessary and uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? Even then, some of them who deserve to get kicked out should have been handled in like a more discreet, professional way, where mine instead should have actually pulled her to the side, talked to her privately, and said, "Hey, you can't be here no more. The cameras can still roll behind the scenes, but you gotta let her know calmly, saying, hey, you can't be here anymore. You're going out of control. Get yourself a taxi, get yourself an Uber. It's a done deal." And that would have been it. You know what I'm saying? That easily would have been it. But if you got like some women asking simple questions that they don't really fully understand, and you know, mine keeps really fucking up the whole deal and trying to like literally answer and trigger like the woman that she get them all riled up on camera, that is extremely uncalled for. That's not how you treat women in this way. You should not be talking to women in this types of manner, saying, "Oh, yo, fuck this shit, get the fuck out." No, that's not how you do it at all. At all. And you know what's really crazy about this whole situation? Myron and Fresh never really commanded respect from the freaking room where they did the podcast at all. They never really done it. So technically that's not really true punishment when they try to Frank Castle them out the door, because the girls that they have on their show, many of them, if not all, never really cared about those two in the first place. They came for their own clout to try and build up their personal brand on social media and OnlyFans. That's it. They don't really care about what them two have to offer given their show, because they already got paid, be like a middleman on the whole situation, actually try to get themselves more exposure. That's all they doing. They don't really care about those two dudes that are hosting the podcast, or the video coordinator Chris as well. They don't give a fuck about those three of them at all. You know what I'm saying? True punishment is when a woman thoroughly desires you, and you've done everything that you can to make sure you further stand out from the pack, and you see a lot of women fully desire you. You know what I'm saying? And if something goes wrong, if you notice that when a woman disrespects you at all, and you ghost her ass without warning from her life, you remove yourself outside her presence, you know what I'm saying, that she desires, she ends up getting very salty and losing her minds. That's a true Frank Castle right there. That's true discipline. That's true punishment. Not that fucking Frank Castle kick a girl out and on camera for a fucking viral moment just to show that he's alpha. No, that's alpha not how you do. That's fucking pseudo alpha, simp ass bullshit. That's not how you do shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Alpha male. And I apologize to the ladies actually going on basically in this clip. In no way do I want to try to impede like punishment in the man or anything like that. What I'm basically trying to explain is, you know, when a woman desires a quote-unquote self-proclaimed high-value man, the true high-value man that's been deemed by the public and his peers for busting his ass off, and she want to try and get him any way he can to try and be in his presence, and he removes himself from her life, probably quietly, if something goes on, if he feels she disrespected her in any way, or she disrespected her in the public and acted a fool, you know, no problem. No, let them have their fun, and then when all the stuff comes to an end, and then when push comes to shove, and everyone goes their separate ways, you don't even bother involving in your life no more, and he is gone, he is out, he ghosted completely. That is a true Frank Castle right there, not the one that Myron pointed out. Just want to try and make sure we get all that very clear. So again, based on what I'm explaining, I don't want to try and put women in discipline in the same sense here based on what really went on. If there's any triggering based on that type of comment, please forgive me for that. But I want to actually show, like, this is not really the behavior that a true opposite act the way that Myron and Fresh are doing things up in their podcast. The way Myron and Fresh are doing things up in their podcast. I'm letting y'all know right now. One more thing. When it comes to Frank Castle, right? If Fresh&Fit pick like literally like a percentage of women, you know, many of them are like low, dirty trash women, okay? A lot of them basically from OnlyFans. A few of them are very decent and like very high quality. They have a female attorney that should come by on the show during the day, and they do have like some classy who do have some careers that do more on the side. But a lot of women they have ever since INA was gone are literally the women that are very low quality and a woman that literally love to fight. There was like a woman in the episode that had a gun literally hidden in a purse that she pulled out on DJ Academics over arguing over some BS. When Academics was literally losing his mind, being passionate and getting super hyper emotional as well, that caused all this crazy controversy. And most notably, there's been like another high level ratchet chick that's beyond hoochie mama material heavy, right? You know what I mean? That knows Tommy Sotomayor well, that has heavy beef, and she ended up looking to whip his ass on like a live podcast set on the YouTube channel. So if you look into Myron, if Myron and Freshman CEO, you look into Frank Castle chicks, you know, to get the views, why in the fuck will you bring these types of women on to easily Frank Castle in the first place? Why do it? You know what I'm saying? Why bring these types of women on instead of bringing like a lot more well-established women on that are way more attractive and actually do have like some careers that they have, like they're a lot more professional careers. It could be blue collar, it could be white collar. During the nighttime, they could bring us out like them being on like some OnlyFans models that y'all got. Why not bring them instead where they behave like where they can more than like behave a lot more than those women that you got on your fucking show? You know? Because at least with those women that have professional jobs who make like a shit ton of money, they're going to be a lot more disciplined and they're going to behave very accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the women that you have up in the podcast. Because I don't even understand why you even bring those women on in the first place. Oh, but then again, you know, you trying to follow a narrative. You're trying to dominate a narrative towards the women that are very ditzy or very unaware of basically what they're getting into. So be able to dominate and manipulate, fuel a narrative, and basically get your cult following to actually boost up. So you'll be able to make a lot of money off of people's bullshit, making a lot of money off of people suffering with all the scam courses that you're selling. You know, doing the whole one-size-fits-all BS. You know what I mean? I can see why, because, you know, it just shows that, you know, professional clout chasing in the end of the day. I see it. Illegitimate, Fresh&Fit, Part 4, the conclusion, coming soon.